Just being on the edge of maybe starting a project and starting to think about some of the technical considerations around integration with your ERP and what you want to show to your customers. What we're going to do now is a quick fire conversation around Brexit for business and the impact that it's having on B2B businesses in the UK here. And so I'm going to hand over to Paul. Myself and Skip and Paul Kelson will be up on the seats here to maybe take some questions and field some questions, and we're just going to maybe explore this little area just before we break up. So hopefully we'll get some questions circulating the room around what steps businesses have taken in light of the decision earlier on in the year.
Thanks. Okay. Hello again, everyone. Before I start, has anyone noticed any headlines this morning?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you let everyone else know what's happened?
So what I've seen on Twitter is that the judges have ruled that Theresa May cannot invoke Article 50 without parliamentary approval, so she can't use the royal prerogative as she was using.
Yeah.
All right, then let's wrap it up.
Does that mean
however, qualification that the reaction on Twitter is that that's going to not determine whether it's Brexit or no Brexit. It's going to be determining the type of Brexit.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's all up for grabs.
Isn't no Brexit a type of Brexit? Let's be clear. Doing nothing is always a viable option.
It is. It is.
So yeah, that plays perfectly into this slide here. Obviously, I'm going to get tongue-tied if I try to read that out. But the known unknowns and the things that we don't know and things that we might know, and now we know a bit more. And that could apply. Well, Donald actually said that, but not the Donald that everyone's talking about at the moment. And it could actually, well, it could apply to his taxes, couldn't it? No one knows about that. So yeah. Let's move on from that. The e-commerce market in the UK, as you can see, we're in a pretty good position. It looks like it's going to be a soft Brexit anyway. And yeah, the market's very well developed here. We've got a great ecosystem. We've got a development cycle here that's ahead of a lot of other countries. And yeah, it's a really good starting place. Also, you can see we have the highest percentage of online shoppers in the EU. So that as well is an internal market that gives us strength as a country. So there's a huge developed internal market there, and we can actually benefit from that. Obviously, cross-border is going to be slightly different depending on what happens, but we don't know. Now, this is the immediate impact post-referendum. There's been a fall in sterling, so that's impacted pricing plans and pricing strategies. Obviously in the B2B channel, the cost of manufacturing and distribution has been affected, especially with imported goods and how that plays out into the pricing. And then obviously goods sold overseas with the value of the pound, there's a big impact there as well. So another thing is, I don't know if anyone's aware here, but in Europe the single digital market is coming. So there are more issues that are likely to arise from that. There's obviously diversion of markets as well as far as rules are concerned, because some rules won't be applicable in the UK as they are in the EU, but we'll have to follow a lot of the EU rules if we want to export. So the first thing we know is that sterling's devalued, and that's the immediate impact from the vote. So Paul from Uniphar, have you any strategy as far as pricing is concerned? Obviously being an Irish company that exports to the UK.
I suppose that Uniphar has a 5-year strategy to mainly expand in the UK. So Brexit probably wasn't the best news for ourselves, but we're very much in the service industry, so it's not product or goods.
Yeah.
We've 2 businesses in the UK at the moment. So we've one which is a resourcing and outsourcing specialist company. So I don't think it's going to dissuade our senior management team from, obviously currency fluctuations is going to be an issue. The other business is a point of care, so it's healthcare in the community.
Yeah.
We need to push into the UK and lots of home prescription delivery business. So yeah, it's a challenge. It's going to be, and I think it's more for our CFO. It's going to be keeping him awake at night for a little bit in terms of trying to plan and factor in potential fluctuations and all. But I genuinely don't think it's going to dissuade our strategy from going into the UK.
And how has your recent e-commerce change what positions that put you in for Brexit as far as being prepared?
It doesn't really affect us at all, really, because our e-commerce business is solely in Ireland, so it's a Euro business, so it doesn't affect us. So we're in quite a strong position on that. In terms of strategy, it's quite how we try to grow our businesses by diversification. So even with a UK strategy that will be affected by Brexit and currency fluctuations, etc., it's not, we don't have all our eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
There is an upside to the currency piece, which I haven't seen anybody really talking about.
Yeah.
Is that currently, because the UK deals mostly in the pound, but we're in the EU, you have to be able to accept euros, which means your pricing strategy has to be coupled. So your pound pricing strategy has to be coupled with your euro pricing strategy. Once there's a Brexit, you will be able to separate them. So you may be able to, whilst you do have to deal with more currency fluctuations, you can also have a very different pricing strategy in Europe or for Europe than you have in the UK.
Are there any businesses trading in Europe in the room? And have you, from a pricing perspective, have you made any changes? No.
It's way too early.
Yeah.
Okay. And Skip, as far as data protection is concerned, what issues do you see that could arise from that?
I hope everybody's aware that there's a new general data protection regulation that's going to go into place on May 2018. I think it's the 26th of May in 2018. The biggest change in the B2B world is that business email addresses are now considered personally identifiable information. So all those things that you kind of used to be able to get away with around soft opt-in and stuff like that, the B2B carve-out, all those things are going away. A couple of things on Brexit. Brexit does not mean you can ignore that. First off, even if they invoked Article 50 today, we'd have 6 months of GDPR. The second thing is, as the government is trying to negotiate an exit, GDPR was the last European legislation that the UK government was actively involved in negotiating. So the easiest thing for the government to do will be to enact it lock, stock, and barrel, probably word for word or pretty close, so that the Europeans feel comfortable allowing us to use their data.
So I'm going to open it up to the floor.